Okay, what I'm going to go through, and I could talk, again, all evening, but I won't, on lots and lots and lots of impacts on climate change. I'm going to take 3 tonight. Any idea where this is? The Bering Strait. It's the Bering Strait. That's Little Diomede Island on the right, Big Diomede Island on the left. America, Russia, right down that line in between those two islands. Basically 60 nautical miles across from the mainland of Alaska to the mainland of Siberia there. Why do I show that? Well, we talk about the Arctic as an ocean. It's the 5th ocean opening up, and it is. But if you're an oceanographer, I would argue that you can look at the Arctic as the world's largest estuary. There's a really small opening at one end, the Bering Sea, and a much larger opening where basically 10 times, I think it's about 10 spare groups plus or minus are going in and out down through the Bering Strait, and barely one, if you're lucky, through the Bering Strait. Shallow water and very, very narrow there. So it's a big, big estuary, but everything's got to go up through the Arctic. As I mentioned, we are looking at probably ice-free conditions in the Arctic for about a month or so between 2035 and 2040. And by the time you get to the middle of the century, there's a very reasonable forecast to start to think about 2 to 3 months of ice-free conditions. We're already seeing increase in shipping traffic, increase in exploration, increase in surveying. The governance is good. UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, everybody agrees on the roles. So we think the chance of overt or armed conflict is very, very low. But as shipping moves up, as trade moves up, one of the primary reasons we have a Navy is to ensure that. Why? That is the global commerce. That is our way of life. In our globalized, just-in-time world, the warehouses have gone away. The warehouses are the ships. If the ships start coming through here, and what the shippers are telling me is when they start getting 2 to 3 months, and they have insurance, and they have charts, and there's a number of other issues that have got to be worked through, but they probably will. But in, let's say, 40 years or so, which, okay, I'll be in my rocking chair, but there are a lot of folks here in the audience that you're going to be leading this country in 40 years. That strait there, that I will argue probably not 10% of Americans could find on a map today, could be as important simultaneously as the Strait of Malacca, where trade is going through in both directions, and the Strait of Hormuz, where hydrocarbons are coming from the north and flowing south. So that's just one example of what's going on in the Arctic, and a lot of our time is spent really trying to think through that. I don't know if I've got anybody here from the USS Porter, frontline guided missile destroyer, homeported right here in Norfolk. Our second fleet commander sent the Porter up to Baffin Bay to work with the Canadians and work with the Danish Navy just a couple months ago, in August, 3 months ago. And had the opportunity to talk to the commanding officer and the crew today. Just very, very insightful as we learn how to work in these conditions. I'll just leave you with one takeaway. The CO left me as we were leaving. He said, "Sir, we can do all of this, but everything is harder, and we've got to understand how to do this." So that's one thing that we see, and we see it because the data is telling us we've got to get ready for this. So there's one aspect of climate change that, too, I think everybody in the Navy is very, very real. Next slide.